So let's talk about this new article. It was reported by NBC Sports, and it says Suns reportedly getting calls about Deandre Ayton trade, maybe to Portland. This interests me. We're gonna read through the article, and I'll give my opinions on it as we read through. The fact that DeAndre Ayton and former Suns coach Monty Williams were not exactly best friends was no secret, and the Suns were considering trading the former number one overall pick. However, the conventional wisdom has been things would change under new Phoenix headman Frank Vogel, a defensive first coach who likes a big camped along with a backline protecting the rim. First, I want to say that is true. You know, we saw how he used AD as their defensive hub. But honestly, with Frank Vogel, I want to see what offense he runs. Obviously, throughout his NBA career, he is a championship coach. But also, being a championship coach, he's a championship coach on a LeBron team who also had Rajon Rondo on the team. So really, when you're a coach and you have those two great basketball minds also giving input and monitoring your team, you know, it also helps you out. So we're going to see what Frank Vogel does when you get such a removed leader like KD, which I'm sorry, but KD is a very removed leader. And when you get two guys who have never won anything and play the same position in Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. I'm going to keep reading. Or not. The Suns are getting calls about Ayton and they are listening. Reports longtime Suns beat reporter, whatever. One source told the Phoenix Sports about the Dallas Mavericks made an underwhelming offer for Ayton over the summer, which that's crazy, sending Ayton to the Suns when they obviously have beef. Sources in Portland confirmed that Ayton's name has come up in multiple times over the last few weeks, and Phoenix Sports reported last year that the Blazers had interest in the Suns' big man. DeAndre Ayton only turned 25 years old over the summer, and Portland believes that he'd be sellable to a fan base as a young former first overall pick with room to grow in the right change of scenery. Suns insider John Gambadoro of Arizona Sports in Phoenix has more detail, including that the Suns and Portland could swap big men if when Lillard is traded. Now, this could also be said to just be rumors, but honestly, trading the big men of like DeAndre Ayton for Nurkic makes no sense. DeAndre Ayton didn't like Monty Williams because Monty Williams benched him in the Game 7, in the last minutes of the Game 7 in the playoffs. He doesn't hate the Suns. He doesn't hate their management. He signed there again, and he, has played for them consistently. And I don't even think he hates the fan base as much as he just hated Monty Williams. Because Monty Williams and him were the real problem. Like, I imagine him and the rest of the team also got wounded by that. But trading him for Nurkic sounds like the worst idea of all time. Nurkic is a historic loser, never been to a finals, has always been paired with stars, but has never really transcended. And DeAndre Ayton is much better in defense than Nurkic, but let's keep reading. Nurkic is a slightly better and more consistent traditional defensive center. I don't like that statement. I don't think it's true. While on offense, he's a much better and more willing three-point shooter. 36.1% last season on 2.3 attempts per game. That's not to say that Nurkic is a better all-around player than Ayton. He is not, and he is more injury-prone. But Nurkic could be good or better a fit on a stacked Suns roster where the center will get very few touches. Also, maybe more importantly, Nurkic is less expensive. Ayton is owed $102 million over the remaining 3 years of his contract, while Nurkic is owed $54.4 million over the same 3 years. That money may matter with the Suns going head along into the luxury tax under new owner Matt Ishbia. The Suns may also like the deal of splitting Ayton's salary into two rotation players, providing needed depth for Vogel. Now, that's true. They could get some depth out of this trade, but honestly, if they get a return for Ayton, it's still gonna have to be in the ballpark of his salary. It's not like it's gonna become a less expensive team. It's just that instead of having one big asset, you're gonna have three different assets. And honestly, with how it's looking in Portland, what other assets would you pair with Nurkic to get for Ayton? Right? Like, if we're being honest, the only assets that they have are young guards, and the last thing the Suns need are young guards. They have a young guard in Devin Booker. Have a young, they have an experienced guard in Bradley Beal, and they have a bunch of guards. They don't need more. They just need wings and a playmaker. And no one in Portland is a playmaker, right? Like, Anthony Simons is a shooting guard, pure shooting guard. Shaden Sharp is just a slasher and shooter, but he doesn't play make. And a guy like Dame, you're not getting him for DeAndre Ayton, so that you could throw that out the window. But let's keep reading. There's a lot of caveats here. One is that if this only happens if a Lillard trade to Miami happens, and while that feels more likely, it is not a certainty. Second, making the deal work is a challenge because Ayton and Nurkic can't be traded straight up for each other. This is what I said. The salaries don't match, so the Trailblazers have to throw in more to get a trade like this done. And this is where things can bog down. For Phoenix, it needs to balance exploring this trade without pissing off Ayton, who they need to chase a ring if no deal comes together. It's still something to watch, and another season of will the Suns trade Ayton seems to be in our future. I do believe that last statement is true. The article ended right there. But if we're being honest, I don't think this deal ever gets done. You know, they need to trade Ayton, but trading him for a center which is older, less experienced in the playoffs, if we're being honest. Like, Nurkic has been to only the conference finals. Ayton has lived in the playoffs basically his entire career as soon as CP got there. And if we're being honest, you know, like, trading for Nurkic would be good in terms of touches, but apart from that, it would suck. You know, Nurkic would be good because he's a big body and he can shoot if he's open. But with the system that they would run, what does Portland give away for Ayton is the real question. Ayton, even though he gets paid a lot of money, he is a player who does need the ball and also is not as good as other players. So when you have a player who gets paid a lot, needs the ball, and isn't as good as he, you know, asks for the ball to be, it causes a discrepancy, right? So when we talk about the Suns, and when we talk about this DeAndre Ayton trade possibility, what we really need to talk about is how viable is this for the Suns? Like, the Suns have Ayton, and we know that even if Ayton doesn't work as the center for your team, he's at least good enough to play good defense and score around 15 to 20 points a night, be young, and run up and down the court for a lot of time. So would you really trade Ayton for a center who's slower, like Nurkic, who's, you know, takes more time, and even though they need less touches, you need them to work inside this system? In my opinion, I would do the trade, but only if I could get a point guard back who can actually play make. And that's, in my opinion, where the DeAndre Ayton to Portland situation comes to a close. Because, you know, that DeAndre Ayton is great, he's phenomenal, he's awesome, but if he can't get it done on his own team, where he had a humongous role when CP and Book were around, as they're both guards, and he was the only real center that they had over there on the team. How is he going to get it done when he has Damian Lillard there, or Scoot Henderson, who want to become championship-level GOATs, and then DeAndre Ayton can't even make shots or guard Jokic in the biggest moment of the playoffs? So, I don't know. I feel like the trade won't happen just because it doesn't make sense for the Suns to trade Ayton and not get point guard and wing depth back. And it doesn't make sense to trade for Ayton if you're Portland, if you're going to try to trade Dame anyway to Miami. So let's see what happens. What do you guys think about this? And I'll see you in the next video.